Now at 5:30 on WKYT this morning, we're tracking a story out of Round County where a fire destroyed a Moorhead business. The latest details ahead.
Also, Kentucky Attorney General Andy Beshear has sued Governor Matt Bevin over the funding cuts to higher education. Beshear is calling those cuts illegal.
And a 5-year-old is safe this morning after Lexington police say he was kidnapped by his stepfather. Police say the search for that stepfather is still on. That's ahead on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you and welcome in. This is where Kentucky mornings start on WKYT at just after 5:30. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain, and it's thankfully going to be a spring-like week this week.
It looks good, you know, and as we head toward the weekend, it just looks marvelous. Better and better. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Really nice. And a lot of big events are going on later on this week and off into the weekend. So there's good news on both ends. Let me show you what's going on right now. We still have the rain down toward the southeast, but look at the cloud deck. The cloud deck continues to inch its way down toward the southeast, and what that tells me is that system is slowly but surely moving on out of here. So we'll give it another 2 to 4 hours once again, kind of push that on out. Where the clouds have filtered on out, central northern zones in the 30s. Where they have not, south and east, we're in the 40s. So it kind of depends on where you are this morning. A lot of sunshine though. 56 degrees later on this afternoon with sunny skies. It's a pretty nice day, but it gets much nicer as we go throughout your work week. I'll have that coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, see you in a bit. Thank you.
We're tracking a story out of Round County this morning. We've learned that multiple businesses are damaged after a fire.
That fire happened on Main Street in downtown Moorhead just around 2 o'clock this morning, a little bit before that. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk now with some details. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Bill. While the fire that burned for 3 hours is now out, the damage is clearly done. One business is destroyed, a second is damaged, and a third is possibly also damaged by those flames. Now, this is the H2O Wireless and Tobacco store on West Main Street in downtown Moorhead. It appears a fire started there around 2 this morning. That business is now destroyed. You can see it's difficult to even see it through those flames and smoke there. Right now, firefighters are putting water on the fire to put out the hot spots that are still flaring up. A tanning business is next to the cell phone and vape store, and that business was also damaged in the fire. While no one was hurt, it is still a difficult morning for emotional employees there who are gathering around the owner of that tanning business. The smoke from the large fire could be seen as far as a mile away. The damaged businesses are only a block away from the fire station, so fire crews did not have far to go. Now, we do have an interview with the fire chief just into our newsroom. He's describing for us why the flames were able to jump so quickly from business to business.
We had 3 buildings. They had small separations and a firewall in between them. No fire protection systems, fire alarms, or sprinkler systems in any of the buildings.
Now, firefighters tell us they just managed to get control over the fire, so they still do not know what started those flames. They hope to begin their investigation and learn that answer when they start to take a closer look at the damage later this morning. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. Kentucky Attorney General Andy Beshear has filed a lawsuit against Governor Matt Bevin. Beshear says the governor did not have the authority to immediately cut state funding from higher education. Beshear is asking a judge to force the governor to release the money that had been cut from state colleges and universities. Governor Bevin says he is prepared to respond to Beshear's lawsuit as necessary in court. State House and Senate leaders will meet again today. They're trying to reach an agreement on a state budget. Today was supposed to be the final day of the legislative session, but that has now been pushed back to Friday to give lawmakers maximum time to try to reach a deal. Leaders of both chambers say they are still confident they can send a budget to the governor this week and avoid a special session.
A 5-year-old is safe this morning after Lexington police say he was kidnapped. Police say Cordell Cowens was missing for hours after his stepfather, 35-year-old Michael Thomas, kidnapped him. But yesterday evening, he was found safe more than 300 miles away at his grandmother's house in Detroit, Michigan. Police say they spoke with Thomas before he dropped the child off in Detroit and urged him to release the boy, but police say he was not cooperating.
And that's why we do Amber Alerts, so that we get the public eyes involved. You know, the family in particular, they particularly got to the suspect and convinced him to do the right thing because he was not cooperating with us otherwise. But once we got the family involved, then he decided to cooperate.
Police say Thomas is from Detroit, and detectives there also are searching for him. Police also tell us the boy's mother was on her way to Detroit last night to pick up the boy. A Jessamine County baby is still at Kentucky Children's Hospital this morning after Nicholasville police say she was abused by her babysitter.
Police say Erin Thompson was caring for the 4-month-old at her home when the child was injured. Thompson was in court yesterday to face criminal abuse charges. A doctor at UK Hospital says 4-month-old Kylie has skull fractures and brain swelling. The court documents show this is not the first time that Kylie was injured while in Thompson's care. According to court records, Kylie's parents told police that they had noticed bruising and confronted Thompson about it before, but said Thompson told them she did not know how they got there. Thompson declined our request for an interview. She will be back in court next week with a new attorney.
New this morning, police in Garrett County are asking parents to talk to their children about strangers. Lancaster police say they responded to a complaint yesterday afternoon of an older white van with 2 men inside attempting to lure children into the van. Police shared on their Facebook page that a child was walking home from school and thankfully knew what to do when the stranger tried to get him in a vehicle. Police say children, especially if they walk home from school, need to be aware of their surroundings and places they can go for help on their walk home.
Time now is 5:36 on WKYT, and a busy Franklin County road is back open this morning after a crash involving a dump truck closed the road for hours. Police say the truck hit 2 other vehicles yesterday afternoon on US 421 between Schenkel Lane and Holmes Street in Frankfort. Police tell us it started as a minor non-injury accident, but then they said yesterday's rain and the wet roads likely played a factor in the more serious crash.
In bad weather, inclement weather, rain, snow, sleet, slow down. Just slow down. Just because the speed limit's 55 doesn't mean you can go 55. In weather like this, just slow down.
An environmental cleanup team was called in after diesel fuel spilled from the dump truck out onto the roadway and into a nearby drain. Police say 2 people were rushed to the hospital and 1 of them had serious injuries.
Lexington animal care and control workers say they've rescued some pets from filthy conditions inside a home. They were called to a home on Hedgewood Court off Woodhill Drive after receiving some complaints from neighbors. Animal control says at least 5 cats and a dog were abandoned at the home. Workers say the home was covered in animal waste and the pets did not have drinkable water. Neighbors say they couldn't believe what was inside.
The smell that came out of there was horrid. I watched the cops knock down the door a couple days ago, and the second the door got knocked down, stuff just came rolling out.
So far, animal control has not been able to track down the owner of the animals. That person will likely face animal abuse charges.
Well, the 2016 presidential contenders continue to stump for votes in New York a week now from the state's critical primary.
Polls show frontrunners Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton holding double-digit leads over their rivals in the state. Don Champion is on the campaign trail.
All right, get him out of here. Get him out. Get him out.
During a rowdy campaign stop in New York's capital city, Donald Trump railed against his party's so-called rigged delegate system.
I end up winning Louisiana, and then when everything is done, I find out I get less delegates than this guy that got his kicked, okay? Give me a break.
RNC Chair Reince Priebus defended the nomination process in a tweet last night, saying in part, the rules were set last year, nothing mysterious, nothing new. Trailing far behind Trump in New York, Cruz has shifted his attention to California, where he says the GOP nomination will be decided. During a rally, he mocked Trump's delegate complaints.
Donald, 65,000 people voted in the state of Colorado. They just didn't vote for you. They voted for our campaign.
On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton maintains a double-digit lead in New York over Bernie Sanders. Monday, she continued to attack the Vermont senator on gun control.
He voted for the law that tells gun manufacturers and sellers they have special immunity.
A win in New York could be a game changer for Sanders.
On April 19th, New York can make history.
Despite winning 8 of the last 9 nominating contests, Sanders still trails Clinton in the overall delegate count. Don Champion, CBS News, New York.
In New York, 247 Democrat delegates are at stake and 95 delegates are on the line for Republicans.
Well, a group of advocates, victims, and lawmakers are making one last push for the House here in Kentucky to pass this state's version of Marsy's Law. That bill would create a notification system for victims when a person accused of a crime makes bail. It would also notify them of court proceedings.
The accused and convicted are offered constitutional level protections here in Kentucky, and crime victims are only covered at a statutory level. So it would just elevate the rights of the victims to make sure that their rights are considered with the same weight and gravity in court as the accused and convicted are.
The state Senate has already passed the bill. A House committee has approved it, but the full House needs to vote on it. If it passes, voters would have the chance to vote on it in November.
Transylvania University is planning a memorial service for a Lexington native who died in the Brussels attacks. Stephanie Schultz graduated from Transy in 2008. She and her husband Justin died March 22nd when bombs exploded at the Brussels airport. A memorial service will be held Friday afternoon at 4 at Old Morrison Chapel on campus. The university is also collecting donations as a way to honor the couple.
The time this morning, 5:41, and let's check live drive traffic, see what's going on out there on this Tuesday, and bright and early. And here's our first look right now at one of our maps, and the indication is that everything is good and green on there right now. We have really no reports of any problems at all in the Bluegrass area. Reminder to our viewers over in Moorhead that they continue to fight that fire in the downtown area, so presumably emergency equipment would be in place there. But again, everything looks good at the moment in Lexington and the surrounding area. Good to have you along. A lot more news coming up on WKYT this morning.
If you're looking to volunteer with kids, there's a business in Southern Virginia that could use your help. You'll see what we're talking about after Micah's forecast.
We have the rain trying to push on out, and once the rain pushes on out down toward the southeast, it's cool now as that cooler air rushes on in, but much warmer later. Are we talking 80s in the forecast? I'll have that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Looking southeast, that's where we're still holding on to a little bit of that rain, but that system is slowly but surely making its way on out of here now, right along that 119 corridor through Whitesburg, and also make your way through Pike County and down toward Middlesboro, Bell County, and also Harlan. That's where you're going to be seeing some rain very shortly, but it's slowly but surely trying to push on out. So you still have a few showers, but other than that, 90% of our viewing area is actually dry as those clouds start to filter on out. Once the sun rises, Frankfort, you're going to have plenty of sunshine. That goes for anywhere in the Bluegrass, too. Work your way southeast, is still going to have the cloud cover and trying to get some of those cooler temperatures filtering on in here. Here's your Keeneland forecast. Kind of the look ahead as it kicks right back off there on Wednesday, and we're going to see near average temperatures right around 61 toward the afternoon. But you got to keep in mind, afternoon temperature, your high temperature falls between 4 and 5 p.m. So before that, we're going to be in the 50s through much of your time out at Keeneland. Once we hit Thursday, much better, right around 70, and then Friday will be absolutely packed. 72 degrees, awesome day there for Keeneland is the horses race. As we travel off into your weekend, it actually gets even warmer. There you got a lot going on. 5K Saturday morning will be just fine. Look at the breakdown of this. High pressure system moves off toward the northeast. What happens to that is we get the clockwise flow around those high pressure systems, and that means we'll get the winds out of the south and southeast, and that is going to do this. It's going to put our temperatures in the 70s. Not only that, bring us plenty of sunshine. It's beautiful weather. When those high pressure systems are around, it keeps us happy. You think about the H as in happy, okay? So it's beautiful weather there for Friday into your weekend, which is absolutely perfect for any events you have going on. The 5Ks during the morning hours, the afternoon spring football game. You have Kite Fest going on there at Jacobson Park here in Lexington with hundreds of kites out and about. The kids will absolutely love it. Not only that, but the marina opens at Jacobson Park this weekend too. So it's perfect weather for it. I mean, you couldn't ask for better weather as we slide off towards your weekend. Unfortunately, we got to go through a couple of cool days. 56 there for today, and then we're in the low 60s tomorrow. But after that, after the frosty morning there tomorrow morning, it looks like temperatures really jump. Now, there's just a small chance of rain on Thursday. I give it a 30%. That's about it, especially south of I-64, the southern half. That's where we're going to have the best bet, seeing that rain. And then we head off towards your Friday and into your weekend. It looks awesome, guys. We're talking 70s. Even a couple of weather models throwing out close to 80 degrees on Sunday. Close to 80 degrees. Unbelievable. I'm not going to jump on board just yet with that. but we'll see as we get a little bit closer. But either way, 76, 80.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's good weather.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty good.
Sunshine makes it feel warm.
Feel much
regardless.
better. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Snowed Friday, 80 degrees this week.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Kentucky,
So
right?
that snow's behind us,
Yeah,
right?
no kidding.
Time this morning is 5:48, and now here's a help wanted ad out of Southern Virginia that may be worth looking at and responding to. That is, if you like kids, of course.
Bill's referring to baby goats.
Yeah, these kind of kids. Right.
And lots of them. The Caramount Goat Cheese Farm says this is the time of year when their kids run wild. The owner of the farm put out an ad for volunteer baby goat cuddlers. She says they've had over 2,000 responses from all ages and from all over the world, actually. The reason behind the cuddling is so they're easier to handle when they grow up.
All right. Well, that's pretty
Not a bad
neat.
way to volunteer.
Maybe they won't grow up and go into a Starbucks like the one we had yesterday. Remember the goat in the,
Yes.
in the coffee shop? All
I was
right.
trying to get the coffee out of the box.
Yeah, right.
that's funny.
Good to have you along Tuesday morning on WKYT.
Coming up, you'll get the stories making news at this hour.
We'll also be checking traffic again, see how things are moving out there this morning. We have what's hot on the web and social media, health news, and more on WKYT. Good morning. Welcome back in. WKYT this morning on the air with you live on a Tuesday at 5:52.
Let's take a look at some of the stories we're working on at this hour.
Kentucky Attorney General Andy Beshear has filed a lawsuit against Governor Matt Bevin. Beshear says the governor did not have the authority to immediately cut state funding from higher education. Beshear is asking a judge to force the governor to release money to colleges and universities that has been cut. Governor Bevin says he is prepared to respond to Beshear's lawsuit as necessary in court.
Topping your national headlines this morning is the race for the White House and New York's upcoming primary.
The 2016 presidential contenders continue to stump for votes in the Empire State just a week to the day from that state's critical primary. Polls show Donald Trump holding a sizable lead over rivals Ted Cruz and John Kasich, but in danger of being outmaneuvered in the battle for delegates. And on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton maintains a double-digit lead over Bernie Sanders in New York.
In health news, most middle-aged men and women prone to cardiovascular problems may benefit from a daily aspirin.
A national task force is urging potential heart patients between 50 and 69 without bleeding risks to consider taking a low-dose aspirin every day. They say it could prevent heart attack, stroke, and colorectal cancer.
Stanford scientists tracking cigarette smokers discovered smokers have a tougher time finding a job than non-smokers, and they earn substantially less when they do. But doctors say it's not clear whether the habit is a cause or result of the unemployment. Let's get a check this hour at today's traffic trouble spots with live drive traffic. A lot of green out there. Not much going on if you're about to head out the door this morning. And it's time to check what's making news online with Bill.
Well, right now on WKYT.com, our top story, we're gathering more information and new video from the fire in downtown Moorhead that has damaged some businesses there. Again, we'll stay on top of that story this morning. And we have the full details as a 5-year-old boy is on his way home to Lexington after being kidnapped by his father and taken to Detroit, where police found him last night at his grandmother's home. Also on our website, more information about Attorney General Andy Beshear's lawsuit against Governor Matt Bevin over the immediate cuts to higher ed. Beshear says the governor does not have the authority to withhold money from universities without a declared budget deficit. Also trending this morning, Harrodsburg police looking into break-ins and thefts from several storage units there. Investigators have identified 2 suspects through surveillance video. You can see that on WKYT.com. Over on Kentucky.com, the state now investigating the Martin County water system. Apparently there were no improvements made after some previous investigations. The problems are said to include major water losses and concerns about water quality. The state legislature will not meet today. Instead, they will make Friday the last day of the session, giving maximum time in hopes of getting a state budget passed. And CBS This Morning is coming up at 7 with your eye opener. And of course, we'll have local updates. Hey, join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter or Instagram, and for the latest anytime, WKYT.com.
And I look across the region, we're looking down south, trying to push that rain on out. And that front is just having a hard time trying to get out of southeastern Kentucky. But when it does, I want to show you this. There's nothing back behind that. So once that pushes through, we get the cool air filtering on in. I say cool air, cooler air. It's not all that bad once we hit the afternoon. We're starting off in the 30s this morning. So 30s this morning, and also those clouds trying to clear on out. Where the clouds have cleared on out, you can actually see. Look at Mount Sterling at 39 degrees. Look at Richmond at 43. 43 there in Richmond. Next update, more than likely will be there in the upper 30s. Danville, the clouds are now clearing on out. We're at 37 degrees there in Boyle County. And then work your way down into the Mountain Parkway. We're in the 40s. Go even farther south than that. We're talking about Hal Rogers Parkway and Cumberland Parkway in the 40s too because of the cloud cover. So where the clouds are from here, southbound, where they're not, northbound, and that's where we're going to have plenty of sunshine once we work through the morning. By the afternoon, though, we'll get those clouds on out, and it'll be sunny skies for virtually everybody. Sunny skies in 56, that isn't all that bad. And you know what? It gets even better as we travel throughout the next several days. However, off into the night and into tomorrow morning, this is your last time for the next, I would say 7 to about 10, 12 days that we actually have to worry about frost. That's tomorrow morning with that frost advisory. I'm going to go over that coming up with another hour of WKYT News. We'll see you back here in just a couple of minutes.